Hello, crafty peeps. Welcome back to my channel, Crafty-ish Kristen. Today we have another WIP and Chatty rant. WIP stands for work in progress. My work in progress is Gethsemane by Mandy Manzano. It measures 92 centimeters by 56 centimeters. I am so close. If you turn it this way, I am right about here. So I'm near the finish line. There's a lot of black in this top left-hand corner that should go fairly quickly. So pull out something you want to work on. If you want to work on a craft project, diamond painting, if you want to wash your dishes, scrub your toilets, drive your kids to soccer practice, hey, whatever. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to diamond paint. So let's get this bad boy started. I am going to start with letter A. I have placed all the A-B drills in this area because nobody wants to watch me struggle with the A-B drills. It is awkward and embarrassing. So I am using my brand new Diamond Art Club pink pen with their new tip. I have just loaded it up with a glue dot and glue strip in the new 6-placer super skinny 6-placer multi-tip. So I am hoping it's not too sticky, but I have a feeling it will be. I've been dabbing it on my hand, dabbing it on my pants. Hopefully this won't be a disaster. So let's get started. First row on the new multi-placer. All right, here we go. Oh, that is definitely skinny. Oh, if you can compare it to my wooden pen, I don't know if it's hard to see, but it is skinnier. Only time will tell. So I had the unfortunate experience yesterday of realizing, as I had already driven about 15 miles, that one of my tires was low. And I was kind of like, oh, I didn't even realize it before we left the house, but okay, well. So I had to take my mom to the dentist because she had to get a crown. And I took her, and once I got to the dentist's office, I looked down and realized that the little flashing display on my dash was saying, it said that I had low tire pressure on the left front tire, that I needed to check it. So, you know, of course I don't have like tire checking tools in my purse or in my car. So I went outside and I pushed on the tire and it seemed okay. And I didn't notice any screws or keys. I've actually run over a key and it completely ruined my tire. So I always think if something's wrong, I ran over another key. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know. Maybe it's just because, you know, it's been kind of hot and now it was cold that day and the day before it kind of rained a little. So I was like, okay, well, you know, maybe it's just the change in temperature. So I went to Michael's, which I will bring up in a minute. And then I ran another errand and then I picked my mom back up. So I got home and my husband decided to put some air in the tire to pump it up, and I didn't have to go anywhere later, so that was no big deal. And he got home from work later and he goes, yeah, your tire is flat. And I was like, what? What do you mean my tire is flat? Like, there was nothing in it. And he goes, I don't know, but it is like pancake flat. Editing Kristen can insert a picture of what my tire looked like this morning. So yeah, that was a bummer. So I have to get new tires. And because apparently my tires are not one of the, you know, the more common standard tires, nobody has my tires in stock. So I have to go for 5 days without my car. And I have to drive my husband's car, which, yeah, I mean, I'm very grateful that we have a car that I can drive, you know, but it's not my car. So that's annoying. super, super annoying. And, you know, tires aren't cheap. So the tires that I have to get are going to run me about $1,500. So that is not something I wanted to spend $1,500 on. But, you know, my car's 6 years old and it only has 45,000 miles on it or something. So it's been, you know, it's probably time, but I just have the worst luck with tires and running over things. Over Christmas time, I ran over like a giant screw and it was stuck in my tire and we were like in the middle of a big ice storm. And so I was trying to get, you know, the screw hole plugged up, but everyone was trying to get snow tires and chains and it was a mess. But so I went to Michael's because I called and asked them if they dry mounted diamond paintings, because, you know, everybody on the Diamond Art Club Facebook group is like, oh my gosh, I had my paintings dry mounted. And, you know, first I'm like, that sounds like something a 15-year-old would make fun of, dry mounting. But, you know, since somebody explained it and I'm like, oh, they're just attaching it to like foam board or something. So I asked if they did it at mine and they were like, oh yeah, we do it all the time. And I was like, oh, cool. So I brought in 4 paintings that I had been, you know, stalling to figure out how the heck I'm going to hang these on the wall. And so I brought them in and the lady was shocked at the diamond paintings. I mean, they're not like, I mean, they're just like, they're Diamond Art Club diamond paintings. There were 2 Dreamer Designs, 2 Diamond Art Club. And she's like, oh my gosh, these are like the nicest diamond paintings I've ever seen. I'm like, really? I mean, you know, they're pretty standard diamond paintings, at least from what I've seen. You know, I've only done a few little, you know, of the, you know, the 30 by 40 rounds or whatever. So I was like, oh, well, thank you. That's really nice. And so we were just kind of chatting because, you know, I had an hour and a half to kill. And, you know, she was telling me that, you know, some places, you know, she didn't even know what diamond painting was. And so she said the first time she did one, she was pretty nervous because she didn't want to screw it up because, you know, somebody worked hard on it and you don't want to mess up somebody's art or their project. But she said, no, they do it all the time. And I asked her if maybe, you know, some places don't do it because maybe acrylic drills, maybe they melt. And she said that wasn't it at all, which I was like, oh, well, shows what I know. But she was super nice and super helpful. And she measured, well, they were all different sizes. I had one that was like 40 by 50. And then I had one that was like 50 by 70. And then one that was like 65 by 65. And another that was 60 by 80. And she's like, I'm just going to write down that they're all the same size. I was like, okay, cool. And it was only $40. I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's way cheaper than, you know, me trying to find custom frames. And she even said that she could trim them for me. Because the one lady that I had talked to said, don't trim the edges off of the diamond painting before you bring it in to be dry mounted. So they have a little bit of extra wiggle room. And in case, you know, you might want to frame the painting afterwards, then you have the wiggle room. Because the lady said, we can't cut your artwork. And I was like, oh, that's totally fine. No worries. So this lady was like, oh yeah, I can trim them for you. And I was like, really? She's like, oh yeah, it's fine. I mean, you know, I'm here. And I'm like, okay. So she's going to trim them for me. She's going to dry mount them for me. And it only cost me like $45. So I was like, that's a score. My gosh, this one is like being, what are you doing? Stupid. These ABs are like super chubby and they are throwing everything off. Yeah, so that was my Michael's experience. And they had all their Halloween stuff up. It totally creeped me out. I was like, no. Like, it's not even August yet. I haven't even had to, like, back to school shop yet. You can't be throwing Halloween out here. I mean, Christmas, like, okay, yeah, you know, everybody puts Christmas out early, but Halloween just seems way early. I don't know. But maybe that's me. So, but I did finish Jasper C, which was what I was working on last time. And so it was one of the paintings that I took to be dry mounted. I literally finished it the night before, and her appointment was at 10:30 in the morning. I was like, I need to finish this because I want to take it and have it dry mounted at the same time. And so I'm going to do a kind of post-review kit down once I get them all back. I'm really excited though, because they've just kind of been sitting on a pool noodle, you know, just resting and chilling and waiting to find a home on the wall. So this way they probably have a better chance of getting hung up, to be honest. Okay. So our cats have these mice toys and they love them, but they are just the giantest pains in the butt with them. They drag them all over the house, and you know, they purposely shove them under the furniture, like under the refrigerator, under the stove, under the bookcases, and then they just sit there and meow until you get them for them. It's like, I don't want to do that. So my cat has decided that, you know, 11:30 is the perfect time to hunt his toy mouse and kill it and, you know, bat it around and throw it up in the air and slam into the walls downstairs. Then, you know, because he's killed it real good, he'll bring it upstairs when I'm trying to sleep. And he'll bring it up the stairs and he'll meow the entire way up the stairs going "Meow, meow, meow," while the mouse is in his mouth, and then he deposits it on the floor in the doorway next to the bed. And I tried just, you know, saying, "Oh, good job, Sharky. Good job. Come here. Let me pet you." Oh, no. He would not stop meowing until I got out of bed, got onto the floor, and pet him and told him he was a good boy. Like, dude, cat, come on. He's just like, meow, meow, meow. So I said thank you, pet, all that jazz. But, you know, by then it's like, okay, now I've already had to get out of bed. So now I'm cold, and, you know, now, and I swear, I don't know how this happened, but if I get out of bed, I have to pee. I could have peed like 20 minutes ago. It doesn't matter. If I'm in bed and I have to pee, or I have to get out of bed, and then I get out, it's like, nope, I have to pee. It's like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like an old person thing, but it's really annoying because it's like, no, I don't want to go pee. I just want to crawl back in bed. But I'll lay there and I'll be like, okay, no, you don't have to pee. You don't have to pee. I'm just fooling myself. Let's be real, because I'm going to have to pee. I know I'm going to have to pee, but I'm like so stubborn that my brain's like, no, sweetie, you don't have to pee. No, you can just go back to sleep. First of all, I can't just go back to sleep. Like, I don't have that skill. Everyone else in my family does, but I do not. Oh my gosh, go in there. These ABs are so chunky. Like, I swear, they're eating up part of the line. Yeah, so I need him to stop with the toy because I want to sleep. I would like to sleep. So, yep. Okay. I finally tried painting the edges of one of my diamond paintings. My daughter had claimed Abstract Cat as her own, and I've been meaning to hang it up for, 3 months. So I got some purple paint because she loves purple, and I decided I was going to take it outside while the kids were on the water slide when it was really hot outside, because I'm like, oh yeah, well, I can't really do this inside because the cats will try to walk through it, so I'll do it outside. perfect. Yeah, no, not perfect, because I seemingly forget that our backyard has not really many trees or things that can shield you from wind. So, and because I'm also stupid, I was wearing clothes that I actually might want to wear out in public someday while I was doing this for some reason, which, side rant, but I can't be the only person out there that has home clothes and public clothes. Home clothes, to me, are clothes that I wear around the house. Things like, you know, pajamas, sweatshirts, kind of, you know, stretchy athletic pants. Basically any piece of clothing that I have purchased over the last, you know, few years or whatever, and I get a stain on it, it becomes home clothes. Because I have the worst luck with dropping and spilling things onto myself. I can't drink coffee in the morning without spilling it on myself. At least once. I have a skill. And so normally, if I'm at the house, I'm wearing home clothes because I know myself. I know that if I don't wear home clothes, my good clothes are going to get ruined. So for some god-awful, oh, I am popping drills. For some reason, I'm thinking I'm going to take this diamond painting outside and I'm going to paint it on my good patio table, right? Because I only need a small piece of paper so I don't actually, you know, paint directly on the table. That'll work, right? I don't know. I don't know what my brain was thinking. So I start to paint it and the wind just starts blowing and I'm like, oh, that's inconvenient, but I'm sure that will not be an issue. Yeah, no, it was an issue. So the wind is blowing the corners of the painting. I'm trying to hold it down while still painting the edges. I'm getting purple paint all over the table, the sides of the diamonds on the diamond painting. I'm like, oh God, I probably should have taped off first. Oops, my bad. Meanwhile, I just keep going. I didn't stop, and I don't understand why I didn't just stop and evaluate the situation and tell myself, hey dummy, maybe you need to not do that. So I get one coat on and it's pretty streaky, but I'm like, it'll be fine. You know, I gotta do 2 coats, of course, duh. So I do another coat and I'm working with the paint and the wind blows and the side of the diamond painting touches my shirt. Now this isn't a home shirt. This is a, like, you know, I might actually wear this shirt in public shirt. And so of course it gets purple paint all over it and I'm like, oh geez, why didn't I change? Then I'm like, well, it's just a little spot, it's probably fine, you know. Heaven forbid I just go change at that moment. Oh no, I keep painting. I make a bigger mess all over myself. I get it all over the table. I'm like, that was really dumb. Why did I do that? I can't be the only one who thinks in their mind that this is going to work out really well. And it doesn't. So I was going to put an extra coat of purple on again, or put like a coat of glitter or something. But she liked it how it was. So I was like, okay. And then she decided she wanted to cover the edges in stickers. So I said, well, that will definitely cover up the purple streaks that I missed. So yeah, so she has the first official, oh my gosh, making a mess. She has my first nice diamond painting that I ever finished hanging up in her room. She has the first hanging diamond painting in the entire house. So she is pleased. I'm hoping to up that number once I get my 4 dry mounted diamond paintings back. So that'll be exciting. I'm looking forward to it. My son had a friend over one day and I offered to pick them up Domino's because I didn't really want to cook them lunch, and I figured it was easy. And I went to the store, so I used the Domino's app, and I pre-booked the pizzas. So I put in the thing. I was like, okay, I'm going to come pick these up at 11:30. And, you know, I prepaid, I used PayPal, all that jazz. So I went to the store, you know, just congratulating myself on, you know, how awesome I was, because I was multitasking. I was going to the store. I was picking up pizza. I was only leaving the house once. It was great. And I'm sitting there at Domino's, and I was early because I thought it would take me longer. Oh my gosh, let go of my diamond. I thought it would take longer. And so I'm sitting there, and there's people coming and going, and I didn't even think to look at the little digital menu board thing that they have people's orders reading out on. And I was like I was looking at the app, and it still said that my order had been processed, but it didn't say, because that's a little like pizza tracker thing saying, oh, your pizza's being assembled. It's in the oven. It's getting ready. And I was like, well, that's weird, but maybe, you know, maybe the app's just stupid. Let's be real. So sitting there, and the guys who were working there were super nice. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what's wrong. It's not saying my order's even like being cooked. And they're like, oh, that's weird. And I'm looking at the board, and, you know, somebody walked in and she said her name, and I was like, oh, her name was on the board. And so I was like, yeah, what's going on? Like, my app isn't working. It doesn't even say you guys are working on my pizzas. And they're like, what's your name? And I said, you know, my name, and, you know, okay, your name's not working. What's your phone number? So I say my phone number. They're like, what kind of pizzas do you have? I'm like, okay. So I tell them, and they're like, yeah, we don't have an order for you. And I'm like, what? Like, but I paid for it. I used PayPal. They're like, yeah, no, sorry. They're like, well, did you use the app? And I said, well, yeah, I used the app. Everything tells me to use the app. Well, apparently the app has a problem of changing the date that you're pre-booking your pizza order for. So the app decided that I wanted to pick my pizzas up the next day, not the same day. So I had ordered pizzas for like Wednesday, not Tuesday. I was like, well, that's a kick in the crotch. So they're like, no problem. Like, we'll open the order and we'll fill it and all that jazz. And I'm like, okay, great. But they're like, but you need to pay for it. And I was like, well, but I already used PayPal. And they're like, well, it's not showing up that you paid for it. And I was like, okay, hang on. So I look at the app, and it says, oh, pay at time of pickup. And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird, but okay, I guess I didn't pay for it. So I pay, they make the pizzas, all is right with the world, the teenagers didn't starve to death. And so the next morning I wake up and I have an email from PayPal, and they're like, your transaction with Domino's is complete. You can pick up your pizzas at blah, blah, blah time. And I was like, oh, hell no. No. I already paid that in store. So I had to wait for the Domino's to open, and I had to call them. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if you were there yesterday or not, but I'm the girl that was, you know, sitting there for 30 minutes waiting for her pizzas to be cooked when I, you know, screwed up and didn't even order the pizzas on the right day. And the guy was like, oh, yeah, you know, he probably realized who I was. And I said, well, yeah, so I paid for the pizzas in store because it said that I had to pay for them, but I just got charged from PayPal. So I've double paid for my pizzas. And the guy was super nice. He's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Hang on. And he went into the system, did his voodoo magic, whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, I see it right here. He goes, okay, I voided it. He goes, I'm so glad you called because, you know, sometimes we don't have that, you know, the ability to void it, you know, a day or two later. It's a lot harder. And so now I just have to monitor my credit card statement to make sure that I get my refund from PayPal. But I'm like, ugh. Like, I'm sitting there like, I know that I use PayPal because I had to put in a different credit card because my credit card still hadn't gotten here that I had to replace all my cards with. So I knew that PayPal had worked because I had to use it. So that was super annoying. But yeah, so note to everyone out there, make sure you check the date of the pizza you want to pre-book, because you could be booking your pizza order for like a day before. Which, I mean, good for you if you are that organized that you are pre-booking a pizza order for a day in advance. Because I don't have my life together that much. I wish I did. So I am actually liking this multi-placer when I can put them in straight. Yeah, it is very skinny, I will say. It doesn't get in the way of the rest of the drills on the side, like sometimes the big plastic ones do. So that is kind of cool. So, oh, it's stuck to the ABs. Oh, geez, don't be doing that. I had quite a few friends go to the Taylor Swift concert that was in our state this last weekend. And it's funny because for some reason, I don't know if I didn't get an email, but somebody I knew got an email saying that they had, somehow there were last minute tickets available. And if you ordered through this one website, you know, it was apparently a reputable website. I have no idea. And like the tickets were in completely awful places of the stadium. And the lowest price ticket was over $1,000. And I'm like, yeah, no. And I think the best ticket, or sorry, maybe it wasn't the best, but the most expensive ticket was $5,000 plus for a ticket. And I'm like, you know, I don't mind Taylor Swift, but I don't think I could pay that much money to see someone in concert. Because, yeah, my family needs to eat. And, you know, I'd like my kids to go to college someday. I don't know. I don't think I could justify spending that much money for, you know, one event. And maybe, you know, and I'm sure that like when you first buy the tickets, I'm sure they're not that expensive. I mean, that's obviously somebody or some company reselling them to, you know, try to make a hefty profit. And I'm sure they do. But I mean, holy moly. Like, I don't have an extra $5,000 just hanging out in my pocket. For me, that wouldn't even be for me to go with anyone else. That would just be for me. I did read that, you know, every city she's gone to has brought lots of money to the local economy, which, you know, is really nice because, you know, every city I'm sure could use some help. But I will not be contributing to that because I don't like any band enough to spend that much money to see them in concert. No, thank you. I know, but I mean, I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Did anyone pay that much, like $5,000 to see your favorite performer in concert? I don't know. With summertime, and with, you know, kids being out of school and routines being disrupted and all that jazz, I always have the hardest time staying in a routine and, you know, doing the things that I need to do before doing the things I want to do. Because I feel like no day is ever fully the same. And so it's just like, I always feel like it's a free-for-all. And it's like, oh, what are we going to do? I don't know. I got to do this, got to do this, got to do this. And yeah, so I really struggle with like just the basic things like, oh my, okay, I need to unload the dishwasher. So it shouldn't take me 2 days to unload the dishwasher. And yet it does. or the worst, the worst by far for me is putting clothes away. I struggle. I have the hardest time. And at least part of the reason I tell myself I struggle with it, let's be real, is our house was built in the 60s. And so closets were a lot different than they are probably built in newer houses today. And our closets, like, we have like these two kind of closets, but they're, they were just hanging rods. And so we tried to add and move things around a little bit, but I just feel like no matter what we do, there's no good closet setup. And so if the closet setup is confusing and inconvenient, well, then why am I going to put clothes away in it? And so then you just put all the clean clothes in front of the closet, and you're like, I'll put them away later. And then later doesn't come, and then you just, grab your clothes out of the pile. And same with dressers. The way our bedroom is laid out is kind of weird. And so we have this low, skinny dresser, which the drawers are pretty much inefficient and don't really hold anything. And so, I can barely get my underwear and my socks in one of the drawers, and it's like exploding with fullness. And so, so then it's like, well, it's such a pain to try to put stuff away. And it gets me overwhelmed because I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't put this away. And so if I can't put this away, then I might as well not even try to put this away, because if this is stressing me out, then I'm not going to be able to figure out where I'm supposed to put my pants, or how am I supposed to hang this stuff. And so it's kind of like the whole, if you give a mouse a cookie thing, where one thing leads to another thing, leads to another thing. And so then by the time you know it, you're like, I can't do any of it. So I'm just gonna go in the corner and cry. No, I don't go in the corner and cry, but I find avoidance things like diamond painting. I'll be like, I don't know. I don't know how to put my clothes away. I'm going to go do something else, and then maybe I'll come back and do it. I know I won't come back and do it. Let's be real. But I do that. And I don't want to pass on those habits to my kids, because, I want them to be more functional than I am. That's for sure. So, yeah, adulting is hard. It's so hard. Like, I'm supposed to be all responsible and a good example for others, and really I just feel like I'm making it up as I go along sometimes. Well, my husband even said, he goes, well, maybe we should call one of those closet companies. I was like, I don't know. But my problem is, like, okay, first of all, he doesn't like to spend money. So I don't think he actually meant that, because that would require him to spend money. But another thing is like, well, what if it's not the closet's fault? What if it's operator error? What if it's our fault because we're, too incompetent or lazy or just whatever enough to put the clothes away properly in the first place? So, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird position to be in. I always thought adults had it all together when I was a kid, They just seem so functional. And I don't feel like I'm as functional as the adults in my life kind of were. I don't know. Maybe everyone was just a hot mess and I just didn't realize it. I think my kids definitely see me as a hot mess, though, which is fine. I'm not going to pretend to have it all together when I really don't. Oops. Some diamonds with holes. You can get out of my container. Oh my gosh, I'm dropping them all over, though. I heard on another WIP in chat recently, and I don't remember who it was, that they were talking about how, you know, a lot of these art companies, like diamond painting companies, and even a lot of artists now are using AI tools, and how some people are very, very against artists using AI or buying art that was completely created by AI. It's kind of, it's interesting because, okay, number one, I don't fully know what the definition of like an artist using AI means. Now, is that just, is AI being like artificial intelligence? So you say like, hey computer, draw me a mushroom that's got a dog and a platypus sitting underneath it, like drinking smoothies out of shoes. I mean, I don't know. Is that what you say? And then it gives you a picture, and then like you use that as your inspiration for your own picture? Or is it like the AI draws the picture for you, and then you like slap a little paint on it, or maybe change the color of the dog, and then you claim it as your own? I don't know. It's really, it seems like a very weird kind of gray area because it's never really been a thing before. But I know some diamond painting companies, I know Crafty-ish has a category that's called Crafty-ish AI Originals, which I'm assuming that means that it was all created by computers only, which kind of seems, I don't know how, I mean, is that a good thing? Because if a computer is creating it, then, you know, some artist out there is, you know, not gonna get paid because a computer is taking their job. But I mean, how much computer help? Too much. I mean, because I heard from a different channel, like somebody said they wouldn't buy paintings by a certain artist that DAC uses because she's like very against AI at all, blah, blah, blah. But wouldn't using computers and AI, wouldn't it count as using computers and AI if like you touch your paintings up? You know, using Procreate and the computer? I mean, wouldn't that technically be you know, quote unquote cheating and using technology? Or, I mean, is there a certain level of digital assistance that you can use then before it becomes taboo? I mean, that's I have no idea because I don't know how to create anything with AI anyways, and push that down. So yeah, it's a weird conversation, and I know a lot of people and artists use digital tools to make their art. So, I mean, is there like a certain percentage that you're allowed to use before people, you know, mark you as like bad or what? Oh, and it doesn't seem like some of the, I mean, are they gonna have to start making artists label their work? Like, okay, this art was created by, you know, Jack, and Jack used crayons and colored pencils, and he used his computer to fix this one area and to change this color and this and that. So, I mean, are they gonna have to start doing that? Because how do you know if something was used, you know, or created using AI, or was enhanced using AI, or digital tools, or whatever it is? I mean, so where's the line of acceptance? That's what I want to know. Because, I mean, obviously I don't want to buy anything that's, you know, stolen. Oh my gosh, why can I not get this diamond to go in there? I don't want to buy anything that's been stolen or copyrighted or ripped off. But I don't want to, I don't want to like turn my back on an artist because they, you know, cleaned up the lines on their painting before they, you know, released it. So it's, I don't know. It seems like a really dicey conversation, and I'm sure that there's, you know, pros and cons for every side, and so many levels of onionage and layers. Oh my gosh, why can I not do this? It's like my glue dot is oozing out of this pen and it's sticking everything there. So yeah, that was my, I heard that and it just kind of, oh my gosh, these blues are not staying in. What is going on? So I was working on my cross stitch conversion project earlier today, and I only had the 310 left, and so I was like, oh, well, this bottle is almost empty, so let me fill it up with one of the other, you know, many refill bottles I have. So I opened up the new bottle, and I was going to put the old lid, because the old lid had the sticker on it, on top of it, and I bumped my own hand, and the entire bottle went all over. Like, when I say all over, I mean all over my lap, all over the chair I was sitting in, and then all over the hardwood floors. And because the diamonds had fallen at such an angle, and it was, you know, pretty high up, they didn't just kind of pool in the ground, on the ground in a nice little, you know, pile. Oh no, they bounced, and they bounced everywhere. And I hadn't swept because, you know, I was going to sweep today. So I was like, oh, well, no, I didn't say oh. I definitely uttered some other words. So I had to try to scoop off the diamonds from my lap first, and then the ones off the chair. And then I had to get down on my dirty dining room floor and try to pick up the drills. And first I was trying to just pick up them with my finger, like, okay, you know, dab, dab, dab. Yeah, that got old real quick because they were everywhere. And so then I was just trying to sweep them into a general pile with my hand. But when you sweep things into a pile, it sweeps everything into a pile, not just the diamonds. So I had, you know, toast crumbs and all sorts of food debris and cat hair and dust and fluff and little bits of paper from crafting. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sweep these all into this one bottle, and I'm going to put this bottle at the very end of the case and just hope that I don't ever actually need to get these ones out. Because I have like, in my project, there's probably, I want to say, I think there's like at least 15 bottles of black. And I know that there's more black than I will need. So I'm really hoping that that is like the last call bottle of black that I will need. And even then, maybe then I can figure out how to, you know, clean out the dirt and debris and all of that stuff before I try to use them, or, you know, I don't know, maybe wash them. I have no idea. Or, you know, by then I will probably have a lot of black drills from leftover diamond paintings, so maybe I will just use those instead. But yeah, that was interesting. And then the cat walked through it right as I'm trying to pick it up. I'm like, could you not do that, please? He just looked at me like I was in his way, you know, because clearly I was. And then he decided to go over to the spot where I had put the painting that I had just unboxed on video. And he started to chew on the plastic bag because he knew that I was occupied with picking up all of the, go in there, oh my gosh, with all the diamonds. It's like he just knew. There's a piece of wax right there. So that was my earlier today. So, living the dream. Like, seriously, just why? So, but he seemed to enjoy chewing on the plastic, so, you know, he had a good time. I think he smiled at me. Let's see. So if I did not say this in the beginning, I apologize. But I hope everyone is doing well and is having a good day, week, month, whatever it may be. So if you're still there, maybe leave me an emoji or tell me what you're working on. And if you want to, you could give a thumbs up. That's another way for me to know that you're still there. Like, subscribe, blah, 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 all that jazz, you know. I am hoping to continue posting if, people like what I have to say. I mean, hopefully I'm not pissing anybody off. I don't want to piss anybody off, but, it's kind of the world we live in nowadays where you could think that you're saying something innocent and then have somebody blow up at you. So, let's see. I'm going to do one more color and then I think I will call it for now. Oh, what am I going to do? I don't have any fun colors left in this section, unfortunately. I will do a white. Well, it's like off-white, but it's white enough. Let's see. And then, oh yes, so I have to redo. I don't really have spare. Well, I have spare storage, but it's basically a box that I just shoved all the little baggies with drills in them. So it's not really working. And I knew it wouldn't, but I was like, I don't know. Do I want to keep my diamonds? Do I not want to keep my diamonds? And, I do because I like to make things difficult. So I got some photo boxes and I wanted them to match because, I wanted them to match and I got those. And then I cut a bunch of cardstock and I downloaded some stickers with the DMC numbers and names on them for the little cardstock tabbies. And I got, well, the first set of baggies I didn't realize that they were too big. So naturally I have 2,000 of them. They're too tall to fit in the photo boxes. So I had to order smaller ones, which bad on my part. I should have paid attention, but I didn't. So I had to order new bags, and then I ordered new stickers for the bags. And so the bags that I have now, I'm going to have to re-put the diamonds that are in those ones into new bags. And I need to get some of that set up before I can unkit, this, the Jasper Sea painting. And, I should be done with this one in hopefully a week or so. So I need to get that started. It's like, again, if you give a mouse a cookie, right? It's just, there's always so many things that you have to do and so many things that you want to do. So let's see, I think that's it for that color. So speaking of things that I have to do, I must go because I'm going to go do the thing I want to do, which is eat dinner. So thank you all so much for sticking around, for liking and subscribing. If you haven't done that yet, please do it. And I will see you all next time. Big awkward hugs to everybody. Bye.